Hey, this is Leon Poe, man. You listening to Causeway Street Podcast. Enjoy the show, man. It's always good. Team ambassador, Boston Celtics, Leon Poe, baby. Holla.
All right, back with another episode of the Causeway Street Podcast. Josue Pavone here, Joel Pavone, Sean Dutra. The Boston Celtics are struggling once again. Kyrie Irving is talking once again. So here we are, once again, talking about his leadership and what he needs to do to help this team, what the Celtics need to do, or I should say Brad Stevens needs to do to help this team as they look to finish strong, I guess, between now and the end of the regular season. Or is it all about the playoffs? Like Kyrie Irving said after losing to the Chicago Bulls over the weekend, 126-116. I don't know where you guys had this ranked in terms of the worst losses of the regular season, but in my opinion, it's at least top 3, right? I mean, there's the Phoenix Suns get lost, there's the Knicks loss, there's this loss. I mean, where do you guys feel this loss ranks in terms of the worst of the regular season, and how is this team going to move forward? That's what we're going to try to figure out. We got Chris Villani going to be joining us momentarily. We'll look ahead because the Celtics schedule doesn't get any easier after tonight's game. Sean Dutra, you going to be ready for that this time?
Yeah, man, I'm always ready for that. You know that.
Yeah, sounds about right. Joel, in case you missed it, we'll wrap things up the way we always do.
I just want to say one thing. I'm so sick of this friggin' team, man.
We'll try to figure this thing out. Okay.
So sick of this team.
All right, let's get right into it then. Real quick before we get Chris Villani on here. How?
Say this guy.
What do you most? Is it Kyrie Irving? You say you're sick of this team, but it sounds like you're really upset with Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
You're sick of Kyrie.
Sick of Kyrie, man.
It's funny because you've been questioning Kyrie since September, pretty much. So I guess
something about him, bro.
It's fitting that you're still upset with Kyrie.
They should have it figured out by now. This team should have it figured out by now. We're entering into March, and we have no clue who this team is.
I had to think about that too. Me and Sean, we answered the March or February? Yeah, that's right, March. Yeah.
March.
Okay. Yeah.
And we have no clue who this team is or what this team is going to do. Absolutely no clue.
Identity issues. Yes.
Identity.
That sounds about right.
They have an identity. They're just an inconsistent, talented team.
That's not good.
But that's their identity. You don't like it, but that's their identity.
All right, so I agree
with you.
When
people say they don't have an identity, no, it's just that they don't have the identity that they want.
By the way,
team to
yeah, but can we agree with the fact
they should have.
But can we agree with the fact that they do come to play when it comes against the bigger teams? Which is why I think a lot of the things that Kyrie Irving had to say alludes to that fact that they're not afraid to knock off a team like the Bucks, like the Sixers, like the Pacers. We've seen them do it throughout the regular season. It's just finding that level of consistency to bring that level of energy for every single night. I mean, that's why we're talking about a 5th place team in the Eastern Conference right now.
Yeah, but say if they had beaten the Bucks and then lost to the Bulls, wouldn't that be worse?
No, not at all.
I mean,
no, not at all.
It depends on what you're talking about in terms of like worse. Is it worse in the sense that it's still them losing a game, or is it worse because they lost against a team like the Bulls?
Listen,
exactly,
here's the problem. Here's my problem, though, is that this whole thing, there's always something going on with Kyrie, right? The All-Star game thing was a big topic. Why is he missing the last 2 games and then going to play in the All-Star game? Well, he better be ready to go against Milwaukee. And guess what? He did not have a good game against Milwaukee.
Yeah, but if he hits
the game winner, does it matter?
Did he hit the game winner?
No, but I'm saying, but if he had,
would he have hit it if he didn't play in the All-Star game? Maybe he would have. Maybe he would have had a little more gas. Maybe he could have muscled Eric Bledsoe there on the last play.
How would he did get fouled? You didn't know.
Okay, let's not get into that.
So we can get into
there was
being gassed out because
did you read the NBA 2-minute report on that game?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I read it from you. That foul was the least of our worries. Marcus Smart should have a 5-second penalty. The tip was wrong. That was a debacle of refereeing.
Okay.
So the foul just went through with it.
Tatum got fouled by the Greek Freak.
I don't think I've ever heard Sean use the word debacle. That's funny.
Absolutely debacle. Guys, I didn't get my nap in today, all right? All right, I'm a little bit cranky.
Sean you've gone from age to your late 20s to 48.
Just lay off me.
Within the last 10 months.
All right.
Nah, but I mean, you still would be saying the same thing if Kyrie had still hit that. Because you're just like, it's just one game, guys. It's just one game.
No, because I think that was that's a big game. I've never sold him short when he's performed. It's when you lose and then you just can't deal with the losses.
All right, well, how do you feel about this then, Sean? All right, after the game against the Bulls, right? Yeah. Kyrie Irving gets a mic in front of his mouth, says, I don't get frustrated about this stuff anymore. It's just part of the regular season. In the playoffs, when we can plan for it as a team and prepare as a team, I still don't see anybody beating us in 7 games. What's your response to that? Is that kind of confidence? Does that reassure your faith in what this team is going to be able to do in the postseason? Or do you read a comment like that and just say, okay, here's Kyrie again talking out of his ass?
Yeah, not at all. I think the team is doomed to the postseason with that type of attitude.
I don't believe that. I think Kyrie is right in the sense, and I like where his head is at. But when I hear a comment of, oh, well, why do you think everything's going to be okay? Oh, because I'm here. It's like, oh, okay, Kyrie.
Okay, LeBron. LeBron.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of trying to build up your team and say, no, it's because we have a great squad. No, it's because at the end of the day, when we play the top teams in the Eastern Conference, everyone finds a level of focus. Instead, it's like, oh, no, I'm going to save the day.
No, see,
I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm
not crazy about that.
Yeah, and the fact that I
that's
can't.
where we're at this point in the season. We're trying to dissect everything he says.
Well, because he won't just shut the fuck up.
So then if he didn't say anything, would you still be happy?
Yeah, I'd be thrilled. If he didn't,
man.
Of course. If he was just
I think at this point in the season,
Sean, you would be like,
everything
say something, Kyrie.
Everything Kyrie does or doesn't do,
okay.
You're like, what the fuck, Kyrie?
All right, no.
He said, fuck Thanksgiving. Oh, my God, Kyrie.
Yes, I'm saying he has not said the right thing once. He has talked so
leftovers.
much. He talked so much shit all year.
Thanksgiving? That's what you said. That's exactly what you said.
I was pissed about that, too.
That's like the third thing that pissed you off on the list of like 10.
See, Kyrie has made it a point. Kyrie has made it a point all year to say the wrong thing at the wrong time. He has no idea how any of this works.
What's wrong with the playoff thing?
He has no idea how any of this works.
It's the part where he sort of made it about himself. I'm not too crazy about.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of what he's
doing. If you ask me, I've been saying that all year long.
Yeah,
you put this team in the best of 7 series against the Bucks or against the Sixers. And I think the Celtics are going to come out.
All right.
It's the Raptors. That's the one team that I think is sort of it's 50-50.
I agree with you too. If just the fact that they just lost to the Bulls, like if they didn't lose to the Bulls the way they lost to the Bulls, I'm with you. I know, I get it. It's only one game, but then it's the Bulls, it's the Knicks, it's the fucking Clippers after you blew a 28-point lead.
That's why they're the 5th best team in the East instead of the 3rd or 2nd.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So then if they had if they had a better away record, I'd be like, you know what? Maybe they can't pull this shit off. But if they don't at least get the 3rd seed, like it's whatever now for me at this point.
I'm gonna say these 2 points. This is why I don't believe in Kyrie. First off, he's never ever had 1 ounce of success in this league without being second fiddle to LeBron James. So if he wants to act like LeBron James, he has a lot to prove. Secondly, if he's going to come out after that Bulls game where, admittedly, you check the stat line, 37 points for Kyrie, I balled out that night. Team got blown out. But don't worry, guys. I balled out. Me. Everything's about Kyrie. He's not a team player. He doesn't fit into Brad Stevens' system. I think Marcus Smart and Marcus Morris and a lot of that frustration that maybe we thought was about the young guys, maybe that was about Kyrie. And they have to just deal with him because he puts up 37 points on a given night. And he is talented, but he's a diva. He doesn't fit in Boston. And when is Danny Ainge going to say enough is enough?
What do you mean enough is enough?
There's 20 games left in the season. What are you going to say? We're going to bench Kyrie?
No, I'm just saying, like, we've been waiting to get this talent, and now that you get the talent, we had a better record last year.
All right, so then,
not last year, but the year before.
When he balls out in the postseason, when he puts up 35 points a night, you're going to be fucking shaking your Celtics pom-pom and going nuts because you're going to say, oh, here we go, Kyrie actually can ball up. Oh, here we go, Celtics are back in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, maybe it is, but I'm just saying, like, is it sustainable? Or I mean, there is, and if it happens, obviously I'll be saying good, great. He's finally performing. The team's finally performing where they need to go. But there is just as likely a scenario right now that they're going to get booted in the second round of the playoffs as they'll make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or have a good deep playoff run. The way it looks right now, there is a very high likelihood that this team is going to flame out in either the first or second round of the playoffs. And sure, talent wins in the NBA. I hear that all the time. But this type of attitude, I don't think can legitimately win. When I mean win, I mean a championship basketball in the NBA. I just don't think it. I don't think it happens.
Sadly, that's the thought process for a lot of Celtics fans right now, with what Sean is saying, because they want to blame it on something. They want to find that it. Like, why are the Celtics not at least the second seed right now. Oh, it's Kyrie.
No, it's because of what you said. They're losing games that they shouldn't be losing.
No, I get you,
but,
but
it's also the fact that these guys. I mean, let's just face it. I don't know if it should make a difference. I love what Charles Barkley had to say when he talked about how he compared this team to a Suns team that was able to go to the finals. They made it to the finals against the Bulls. Or no, you know what? Maybe it was the year after. Either way, he said, look. Teams don't have to necessarily like each other. You can still be successful. You can still reach a certain point in the playoffs.
Yeah, teammates, yeah.
You can be teammates. You can win. But at the end of the day, you're going to drop games here and there. And I think that's what we're seeing with this team. I think there are games where they're dropping because, one, they're not all on the same page. They don't all agree. Maybe they don't agree with their roles. Maybe they don't agree with the way the other teammates go about their business. But when it comes to playing top-notch teams, you see the Celtics perform. And you've seen them knock off all the best teams. We'll see what happens against the Warriors when they go out to Cali. But, I mean, they've knocked out all the top teams. And I think when it comes to Eastern Conference, you talk about a team like the 76ers. Man, talk about a Celtics team that's not only living in their heads, but they haven't dropped a game since May against the Sixers.
If we're to talk about the fact that the Celtics have dominated the 76ers this year, isn't that the regular season too? Like you can't in the same breath that you're saying, don't worry, it's the regular season, but then put stock into the wins against Philly, the wins against Milwaukee, and well, they only have one win against Milwaukee, and the wins against Toronto, and the good record against the Pacers, the good record against the top-seeded teams, and then at the same time take zero stock in the times that they get blown out by the Bulls and the Knicks.
Yeah, but they're not playing those teams in the playoffs, Sean. That's the thing. That's my point. I just feel like, look, Kyrie has a point. That is something that I believed in all season long. In a 7-game series against the Bucks or the Sixers, I'm taking the Celtics.
It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out to say.
It's a cop-out for him to say that after the Bulls loss. I agree with that. Yeah. That's why I don't 100%. I don't 100% agree with his attitude after a loss like that.
Yes. And okay. I think
but
that,
this point, like you said, attitude reflects leadership. But like at this point, he's running out of options. What more can you do?
I didn't say that. Gary Bertier said that, man. All right.
Well,
you were quoting him.
No, but at this point,
can't replace a guy like Gary Bertier.
You can't replace Gary Bertier.
At this point, they're gonna have to prove it to everyone on the road. That's my biggest thing. Like they're a better team. Obviously, they're a better team at home.
Which
like it's like night and day.
Which is funny because guess what? You could say going on the road is a little bit of adversity, and this team does not respond well to adversity. Guess what the playoffs is? It's adversity. I just don't think that this team led by Kyrie, first and foremost, Kyrie Irving does not have the mental fortitude to leave a team into the playoffs. Okay. I just think that's
what
correct.
I see what you're saying.
Talent, yes. Mental, no.
All right, you think that's the problem. So then what's your solution?
I never said I had answers over here, bro.
So that's what I'm like. You're saying it's Kyrie.
The solution? What's the solution? What's the solution? Is that you
shut down Kyrie?
Like, but you hold him accountable. Like the Celtics are so scared of losing Kyrie next year. They're letting him do whatever he wants to do.
No, but the Celtics fans that are in your camp are holding him more accountable than they should hold than holding Brad Stevens. And Brad Stevens, to me, he's the culprit. To me,
okay, but no. If you're going to put it on Stevens, then you got to because I think. Peel back the onion here, all right? Mm-hmm. You have Kyrie acting like a fool.
That stinky ass onion.
You have Kyrie acting like a fool. He's not getting any. And from what I see, and I don't know, and who knows, maybe Brad Stevens pulls him aside every day and says, "Now, Kyrie,
what the fuck? Can
you cut that out?" All right. But the reason why he's not
uncanny. Why do we assume that Brad's like this nice guy? Like he has no edge to him whatsoever. That's all his conversations are like that with his players. I want to see. I think Brad, or maybe he is. But
you know what?
Even if that's the case, then he needs to be like Kyrie. Cut the fucking shit.
That impression was uncanny. Though.
I don't even think it goes that far.
Spot on.
I don't even think he addresses it. I think Danny Ainge has told Brad, just be like, "Hey, we need to sign Kyrie next year.
So then
make him feel comfortable."
Then that's horrible. That's horrible because it's not going to work. Then you're going to have to fire Brad Stevens at some point.
Man. Right, you let Kyrie walk. That's what you let happen. You let Kyrie walk. You build around Tatum. You're going to be all right.
So then why would Ainge say that then?
Why would Ainge say that?
No, I'm saying why would Ainge say, "Oh, let Kyrie do whatever," and then let him walk?
Because
it doesn't make any sense.
All right, let's turn to our guest for some answers here. Let's get to our guest of the show. We got Chris Villani of WEEI here to give us his 2 cents on Kyrie Irving and the Boston Celtics. What's going on, Chris? Thanks for coming on.
Hey, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
So, I mean, it seems like every other week we got a new comment out of Kyrie Irving, something that makes us all talk about his leadership and sort of question the direction of this team. In light of his newest comments after the Chicago Bulls loss, the fact that he's kind of downplaying the loss, A, but B, also saying like, hey, don't worry, in the best of 7 series, I mean, no one can really beat the Celtics. What do you make of this kind of confidence out of Kyrie Irving? I mean, at this point, do you see it as the best way of him getting his team to be motivated and focused, or is this just another example of Kyrie Irving just talking way too much?
Well, I don't mind him saying this necessarily because there is some truth to it, I think. When you look at the NBA and teams that kind of flip the switch once playoff time comes around, Kyrie's been part of teams like that in the past, and maybe he thinks Boston is that type of team. And frankly, maybe they are. Man for man, I still think they're as talented as anybody in the East, and they can compete, although it looks like they're going to have to do it from a middle-of-the-pack seed rather than what at least I thought at the beginning of the season would be maybe the best team and the best record in the Eastern Conference. So I do like that, but there's clearly a disconnect between what Kyrie is thinking and at least what Marcus Smart is saying and some of the opinions of the other guys in that locker room, including a guy like Smart who's been there longer than Kyrie, who's played for Brad Stevens, who's been through the grind and had some success. And, he's looking at it and saying that the effort is not there, that they were embarrassing the other night. And frankly, they were. That's as embarrassing a loss when you're playing a team that you beat by 50 earlier in the season, and you not only get beat, but they wipe the floor with you. That was a 10-point game that wasn't that close. So it's nice to hear from Kyrie Irving because I guess it beats sniping at reporters, but at the same time, is he the only one that believes it? Is he trying to convince himself? Is he trying to convince other people in the locker room? Because it's clear that level of confidence and sort of letting it roll off is not shared by everybody in that Celtics locker room right now.
Yeah, you make a good point. I think he sort of, I guess, hasn't really bought into the Celtics mentality, especially under Brad Stevens. But let me ask you, are you concerned that Kyrie has never won a single thing in this league without LeBron James? And do you think that's seeping into his mentality?
Well, it's such a star-driven league. I mean, you could almost take any superstar in the league right now, and you can look at it and say, well, he hasn't won without X. I mean, LeBron hasn't won without at least one other great superstar on his team. He was without superstars a few times and managed to get to the finals, and he's clearly the best player. But he needed a little bit of help to get all the way there and finish the deal. You could say the same thing about the combination now in Golden State, and it's less for me about whether Kyrie can be the centerpiece star as to whether Kyrie thinks he can do it here, right? If he thinks New York with Kevin Durant is a more attractive option, you might frown upon that and say, well, Kyrie again showing that he can't do it without another superstar, but that's not going to make Celtics fans feel any better if all of a sudden Kyrie Irving goes and a guy like Anthony Davis isn't so attracted to the idea of signing in Boston, or another superstar isn't so attracted to the idea of signing in Boston, and then you feel like you're back to square one with a bunch of young guys. So it's really about, at this point, trying to make as much as they possibly can out of the rest of this regular season, build a deep playoff run, maybe go on that run to the finals, do enough to make Kyrie Irving believe that this place is his future, and maybe you got to surround him with another superstar to get it done. I don't think this is a championship caliber team this year. I was skeptical about that anyway coming into the season, even though I thought they'd be better than they are. So the question for me is less so can Kyrie do it alone than will Kyrie want to do it either alone or with another superstar here in Boston, or does he see greener pastures someplace else like Manhattan?
I like the fact that Kyrie didn't go like all Kyrie this time around when he when he spoke to the media. He kind of kept everything short, and I think he's kind of learned his lesson with saying certain answers. But how much of this is on Brad Stevens? Like how I mean, he constantly is always saying, I got to do better. But here we are, 23 games left in the season, and he's still saying that. How much of that does he really believe, and how much of this whole, this season so far is on him rather than just the players?
Well, some of it's got to be on Brad Stevens, right? I mean, this guy has got nothing but credit from everybody that follows the Celtics, myself included, over his entire tenure. I've said a lot that we kept moving the goalposts on Brad Stevens from make this team respectable, get them to the playoffs, win a playoff series, go on a deep playoff run, and he's just checked every single box or kicked it through every goalpost, even as it's kept moving. But this is a new dynamic for him when it comes to a locker room. One of the common threads that we've seen from Celtics teams under Brad Stevens is they tend to overachieve. You take those guys. Isaiah Thomas is probably the best example, who is a bench player, and he becomes a superstar. A guy like Jay Crowder, a guy like Evan Turner, getting those, even somebody like Marcus Smart, doesn't necessarily have to be guys that left, but getting that sort of little engine that could mentality, that scrappy mentality, getting the most out of those guys. And it sort of mirrors what he had at Butler, right? He wasn't getting McDonald's All-Americans all the time at a school like Butler, but he's able to coach up a guy like Gordon Hayward. He's able to coach up a guy like Shelvin Mack and turn him into a pro. Those types of guys, that's where Brad Stevens has really thrived. This is a different kind of team. You have established stars. It's no longer Jaylen Brown all of a sudden playing big minutes or Jason Tatum as a rookie. You've got to deal with Kyrie Irving. You've got to deal with an established superstar in Gordon Hayward, who's coming back off that injury. Al Horford, who's been dinged up. It's just a different kind of locker room dynamic. And I think it seems like Brad Stevens has got a hard time or having a hard time figuring out how to deal with that, right? Because it's different than everything he's done and everything he's dealt with in his college coaching career and throughout the Celtics. But this is the next step. This is moving the goalpost one more time. This is what we wanted as Celtics fans, right? Get top 10 NBA stars, get a guy like Kyrie Irving, make this an attractive destination, and build a championship caliber team. So, he's been getting the most out of the Ford Taurus of the Celtics over the past several seasons. Now you got the Ferrari. Now you got the keys to it. Is it a little bit too much car for him? I think if I'm stretching the metaphor a little bit too much here, forgive me, but I think that's
because they ain't nothing wrong with a Ford Taurus, man. Jeez.
Yeah. That's what I think that's what we got to figure out here about Brad Stevens. So does he deserve some of the criticism for this? Yeah, of course. You don't get to get all the credit for the last 5 years and then completely escape any kind of criticism when it seems like the team is underachieving, and this may be yet another bridge year towards the Celtics and making them a championship caliber squad.
Our conversation with Chris Villani is brought to you by betonline.ag. Right now, when you go to clnsmedia.com/win, you'll get a 50% cash back deposit when you sign up for betonline.ag. This is easy money, people. Trust me, because you got one, they're going to give you money to play with, extra money that you didn't even throw down. And two, betting has never been easier when you bet with betonline.ag. Some big games going on tonight. Sean, what we got?
Got a couple of good matchups tonight. Obviously, Boston, Toronto. Toronto's a 4-point favorite in this one, which is surprisingly low for Boston traveling up to Toronto. You never know. Maybe you put a little action on the Raptors to cover that spread. And then the night game, big game. Players only, baby. You're going to be watching that on TNT right after the Celtics. It's the Thunder Nuggets game. It's a 3.5-point spread. So, I don't know. Denver's the home team. They got IT back. They've been playing pretty good, but you're going to bet against Paul George and the Oklahoma City Thunder on primetime television. I don't know. It's a flippity old coin there, as I like to say. But, yeah, Thunder Nuggets game. Going to be a good game.
Yeah, so you can get in on the action. If you haven't already, sign up. Head over to clnsmedia.com/win, and you can bet with betonline.ag. That is betonline.ag. Head over to clnsmedia.com/win and get yourself signed up. All right, well, let's get back to this conversation with Chris Villani here on the Causeway Street Podcast.
All right, so to piggyback on this Brad Stevens getting some of the blame here. So have the Celtics, up to this point, has this season considered a failure? And if they remain in the 5th seed, 4th seed, and they get knocked out, say, in the 1st or the 2nd round, even though you just said it, this might be considered now a bridge year, but would that be a failure for Brad Stevens for the first time and since the rebuild started?
Yeah, I don't know. Failure might be too strong a word,
Really?
And we got to see how it plays out here the rest of the way. So you got 20 games left. Maybe they do flip the switch. Maybe they do find themselves in a first-round series with a Philadelphia team that they've owned over the past few years, it seems like, no matter what kind of roster they're putting out there. and they're able to get some momentum and go on a run here in the postseason, I think success right now would be making Kyrie feel like there's a future here, being good enough to have the winning overcome whatever sort of dysfunction there is in the locker room. I've never been one of those guys that feels like the Celtics, at least this Celtics team, is better without Kyrie Irving. I don't believe that, especially when it comes to the postseason and some of the superstars now that are in the Eastern Conference all of a sudden. But the fact is that this locker room dynamic has not quite worked out. What cures that? Winning. If they're able to really do what Kyrie is saying, what he said after the Chicago game, say, don't worry about the playoffs, you got me, we'll figure it out from there, then I think you can do enough to make this, again, maybe not quite what people thought it would be, but if you get to an Eastern Conference final, you're competitive. If you win the East, obviously, get to an NBA final, maybe give Golden State a little bit of a run, assuming they're there, and make somebody like Kyrie Irving say, okay, this is a place where I can win, and then you figure out the situation with Anthony Davis or whatever you want to do in the offseason. You just don't want to come to free agency next year and then into next season feeling like you're starting over. That would be, to me, a failure. So they're not quite there yet. And I won't say that they would be there unless they come out of this season and we're going into next year thinking, okay, you're sort of back to square one, and it feels like they're a couple years away from really competing again.
Yeah, that's exactly that was the direction I was going to go in with this. With my question is, what if let's say the Celtics do get to the NBA Finals somehow, right? Let's say they make it to the Finals, they win 2 against the Warriors, and they bow out. Without getting someone like Anthony Davis or another superstar, do you realistically see Kyrie Irving sticking around? Like, will that be enough to sell him on the idea that, okay, we didn't get another superstar to help me out here, but I have enough confidence in these guys that we made it this far to the NBA Finals, even though this team is obviously not going to look the exact same next year with a lot of guys with expiring deals left. Do you think it's one of those situations where Danny Ainge needs to bring in another superstar to keep Kyrie around, or do you think the Celtics could actually continue on with this core and still keep Kyrie satisfied for his next, I don't know, brand new contract with the Celtics? Let's say hypothetically he decides to stay. Is that enough to keep him around?
Well, yeah, that plus maybe the $80 million more that he can get here that he can't get anyplace else. I mean, that's definitely part of it that's working in the Celtics' favor. But yeah, I think it should be, right? Because you could look at it and say, if you're Kyrie, well, now it's another year of Gordon Hayward rehab % as opposed to working his way there slowly over the course of the year with a couple of setbacks. Al Horford's injury this year certainly has derailed some of the flow of what this team likes to do. You've seen a difference when he's been playing at 100% as opposed to not. Another year of growth for the young guys, et cetera. So, yeah, I do think there is something to that, and maybe you find a better mix with a little bit of the roster reshuffling that does happen over the season. That said, is it enough for Kyrie? I think you could logically make that case, but I have no idea at this point, and that's been the frustrating part for me with Kyrie. 2 things have really frustrated me. One, this guy's been really tough to figure out exactly what he wants and what's going to make him happy. He went from in October saying to season ticket holders, hey, I'll come back if you'll have me, to don't ask me about free agency, to July, to we'll be fine in the playoffs. So he's kind of been all over the place. I would like to see Kyrie stay, and I'd like to see Kyrie stay and become a slightly more likable player, an easier guy to root for. I love watching him play. I think he's a unique offensive talent, but he is making himself, at least for me, a difficult guy to really, really root for here. So, long answer to your question, but to bumper sticker it, it should be enough, but it wouldn't be a shock to me if Kyrie said, yeah, this was great, but me and KD in New York, and we'll kind of figure it out from there with 2 max deals open. Yeah, that looks pretty good too.
You know, one of the things I haven't liked about Kyrie this year is the way he's been sort of the way he interjects himself throughout the scrums when it comes to the last play of the game. And it seems like, I don't want to say that there's a disconnect between him and Brad Stevens, but it seems like he's very vocal with the way things go down at the end of the games. Now, look, we talk about someone who's been showing so many traits of LeBron James, sort of the new LeBron James of the East in terms of his attitude and the way he's been not only calling his players out, but also sort of trying to figure out this whole leadership thing. It's very reminiscent of a young LeBron when he was taking over the Cleveland Cavaliers and trying to figure out a way to get the best out of his guys. Now, one thing that I certainly remember about LeBron James, especially in his second stint with the Cavaliers, is how many coaches he's gone through. What are the chances are, and I'm just putting this out there because I really wouldn't shock me if this is something that will be a talking point at the end of the season. What are the chances are Kyrie Irving says, you know what, if I'm going to stick around here, I need a new guy. I'm not crazy about Brad Stevens. I need a new coach here in this city. Danny, what can you do for me? Do you see something like that happening? If Danny Ainge is put in that tough spot, does Danny Ainge ultimately make that decision between him and Brad Stevens? And if he does, which side do you think he goes to?
I don't know if Kyrie is going to think that he has that kind of clout at this point. And we've seen guys get coaches fired all the time. LeBron has certainly. Even going back to Magic Johnson, and this is not a new phenomenon in the NBA. And Kyrie's got a lot of pull. I don't know that I see that scenario in particular playing out. And it's hard to say. My gut feeling would be that Danny Ainge's loyalty would be to Brad Stevens because, again, Brad Stevens has shown himself to be, I can't say the best coach in the NBA, right? You got to win a championship before you could be considered that. But in terms of getting the most out of players, up until this season, he's done it better than anybody else in the league. So I think that Danny Ainge might be more inclined to say, as frustrating as it would be to lose a superstar, I feel more comfortable hitching the future to this guy, the coach, who's gotten a lot out of a little, and say, all right, we can remake the roster yet again and try to build this thing with him, as opposed to sort of the temperamental superstar and then bringing in another coach that Kyrie may like better at first, may not, and ultimately doesn't work out. And you got to start that whole process again. So I don't know that it plays out that way. If it does, my guess, at least what I would do if I were Danny Ainge, my loyalty would be to the coach, not the player, because I feel like the coach has overachieved on balance, and we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But you could say it's been a disappointment what the Celtics have done since Kyrie Irving has come, and they've as a team have underachieved with him as the centerpiece superstar.
All right. So that being said, who do you see coming out of the East, if not the Celtics?
Yeah, I mean it's tough to look at right now the Eastern Conference and really feel, I guess, overly confident about any team, right? And it's great. The Eastern Conference playoffs could be really good this year. And when was the last time we actually thought that about the Eastern Conference playoffs going in? I mean, sometimes we've been, I think, pleasantly surprised by what's ultimately happened, and but it's been sort of LeBron and then everybody else trying to make series interesting and make things somewhat competitive until LeBron's team ultimately gets there. So now that he's out west, I do like what Milwaukee's been doing. I think Indiana, is just maybe a little bit too banged up. I think the Sixers got to worry about a first round reason, has seemed to own that matchup. Toronto's a sneaky team too. If I had to guess, it'd be one of the, and this is sort of boring to pick the chalk, but that is kind of the way it works out in the NBA. I think it'd be one of the top two teams in the standings right now, Milwaukee or Toronto, which may not be the best for ratings. If you got a Milwaukee, Golden State, Milwaukee and Oakland, the two basketball meccas that you want to see in the NBA Finals, might not be the best for ratings per se, but those two teams, they got better at the trade deadline. They seem to be maybe the most cohesive teams right now in terms of how they want to play and what they want to do. I think those two teams are going to be tough outs in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I think Indiana would surprise me a little bit. The Celtics are, after those two teams, the Celtics may be the next team, just because I still believe talent-wise they have as much, or at least close to as much, as everybody else. They're just not all on the same page right now in that locker room. They're not all on the same page in the way they're playing on the floor, and we'll see what they do tomorrow night, but it was embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing, the effort they put together on Saturday in a tough 3-game stretch. This was supposed to be the gimme, right? You take 2 out of 3. Chicago's the gimme. It's the team you beat by, was it 49-59? Who cares? Once you get over 40, you're just bragging at that point. And they get blown out by that team, and Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen score 80 points against you. That. How many times does Zach LaVine have to go in and dunk uncontested? Well, Jaylen Brown or Al Horford or whoever just stands there. And a lot of it was Kyrie getting beat. But at some point, somebody's got to help. Somebody's got to contest. That's a lack of effort. And that's a sort of frightening thing to look at when you see the Celtics and a team that under Brad Stevens sort of prided itself on being gritty and tough, and we're going to guard and we're going to play defense and we're going to make you work for everything. They didn't have to work for anything on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm predicting a drastic change for the Toronto game. I mean, think about it. At this point, defensively, whether we're talking about giving Shemi Ojale more minutes, whether we're talking about reducing Terry Rozier's minutes, I mean, Brad Stevens has to do something if he wants even a fighting chance against the Raptors, because otherwise they're getting blown out.
Oh, they're getting blown out. We saved everybody the trouble of watching. No problem.
Hey, Villani, if you're a betting man, which team are you putting your money on between the Celtics and the Raptors?
I gotta like Toronto. I mean, that's the Celtics are playing on the road. They haven't played well in a while now. It's not just going into the All-Star break, blowing the 20-point leads against the LA teams, the frustration going back to the Magic game with Kyrie when the last play didn't work out the way he wanted to. There's been so many things that have just not gone their way. Last year, I don't know if you remember, coming out of the All-Star break, they went on a run. That was when they really started to, I don't want to say turn things around, but you saw this team really start to come together so far, and it's only been a couple of games, but as we know, I'm counting the Chicago game as like 3 or 4. That's how much I hated it. But so far, it has not been the same coming out of this All-Star break, and it's a tough road ahead for the Celtics schedule-wise.
All right, he is Chris Villani of WEEI. Give him a follow on Twitter at ChrisVillani44. That's at ChrisVillani44. Chris, it's always fun having you on, man. We'll talk again soon.
Pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
Later,
Chris.
See ya.
Yo, man, that guy can't just pick, just say what he believes.
He rides the fence.
He rides the fence like
what? Finish that sentence. All right, well, glad to see someone's confident in terms of seeing the Celtics grab a W tonight. But let's look ahead either way, Sean.
You didn't sound so confident.
So else we got? No, I'm not confident either.
Ain't no one confident.
Yeah, no one is.
Yeah, but
no one is.
A lot of it didn't sound so confident either.
All right,
well, I'm being sarcastic.
Doomsday's coming, fellas.
Oh man, you talking about Christian Arkin's doomsday theory?
No, just this season's doomsday. You got, you're gonna play.
You can't read the schedule, bro.
No, I mean, realistically, you're gonna play next 3 out of 4 games. You're going up against a top 10 player in the NBA.
You can't read the schedule, bro.
Yeah.
Wait. Are you saying you had Damian Lillard in your top 10?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
He did.
Number 10, bro. You didn't even fucking listen to the episode?
He thinks little
better than Kyrie and West.
You did say that.
The second best point guard in the
league.
Yeah,
that's right.
Way to pay attention.
Where did I have him? I don't remember.
Probably had him on number 26. Well, I could... I could see Damian Lillard being a top 10 player, but at the same time, maybe he's not. Maybe if you talk to people on board, maybe he is. Then in my opinion, maybe he's not.
We love you, Chris.
What did I have him?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Just get to
probably like 13 if I had to.
Just say. But you know what I mean. Just say what you actually think. You don't have to explain it for everybody to understand.
Well, obviously he wasn't sure, Sean. He was on the fence. So
no, but
back and forth.
No,
but I do agree with them that the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Agree with what?
The Eastern Conference playoffs.
What do you agree with? Everything?
They're going to be interesting.
You agree with just the way things are in the world and all the possible outcomes? Jesus.
This is what happens when Sean doesn't take a nap. This is what happens.
I'm fucking cranky today, guys. Fucking
man, Sean over here.
Had to. Get to the fucking point.
Sean's like, are the Celtics going to make the finals or not? Which one?
Just give me a fucking yes or no answer. All right. I understand all the outcomes.
Pick a fucking team that's going to make it.
Who's coming out of the East?
It could be the Pacers. It could be the Raptors.
This is 30-year-old Jordan. Right? 30-year-old Jordan. This is it.
Or it could be the Bucks.
I was gonna, you know what? I was gonna be like, yo, what about the Nets, bro?
Well, the Nets are an interesting team, actually.
I'll take a 19th. You could be second. You could be third, fourth. Heck, you could even be fifth. No shit.
Pretty much where we went with that. All right.
Fresh your last. Doesn't make any sense.
Hey, we all have off games. Come on, pick it up next time. We'll be all right. Anyways, let's look ahead. Celtics versus Raptors. Blowout.
You sure you want to look ahead?
Nah, it's still gonna.
Yeah, we got there. Blowout.
So at Raptors, at the Raptors.
Yeah,
Drake's gonna be in the building.
We talked about where's he been, by the way?
Yeah, Drake's been. With his kid.
I think he's still mad. He's still mad with the DeRozan trade.
Yeah,
He's with his kid. He's with his kid.
He's upset. I'm upset. DeRozan's on San Antonio now.
Yo, by the way, did you see DeRozan the other night? What a fucking chump. Yo, what a fucking chump. That dude just goes, oh, you know what? You know, it'd be real great. Like, you know, I really enjoyed my time in Toronto. They were a little hard on me because they called me like a choker and I couldn't come up with big moments. And then in the biggest game of the year when I'm trying to like prove to them that I'm not that way anymore.
Stripped.
Kawhi just comes and just rapes me at center court and just takes the ball and lays it up casually.
The fans are like, oh, that's why they made that trade.
That's why we got Kawhi.
And then you know what he did after? He just starts tying his shoe like, oh, this is why.
Yo, he just looks at LaMarcus. He's like, yo, you didn't tell me my shoe was untied, bro.
Like, you couldn't set the pick and tell me my shoe was untied at the same time, bro? Yo, my man, tight shoe. Damn. Ball gone.
Yo, DeBar, I tried to tell you his shoe was untied.
I love how ESPN and NBA
don't listen.
ESPN and NBA TV are like, oh, man, but look at that ovation that he got from the crowd. Dude, no one was even standing.
No.
Like, if that was Boston, you know what I mean? Like, granted, I get it. There's no other state like Boston in terms of, like, giving props to players that used to play there. But you would think for someone who gave his entire career to Toronto, was the only guy that made Toronto relevant for so many years, he would have got a lot of ovation than that.
Nah, it's pretty much because they were like, didn't see a way out of that one. We lucked into this one, you know?
Now we got Kawhi somehow and Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
Good to go.
So I thought DeRozan was our ceiling. That would have sucked.
Like cohesively, you heard, that's why we traded him away.
I guarantee you Isaiah Thomas gets a lot of ovation when he comes back against the Celtics.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
But that's terrible.
No, he was like 17 points.
He was like
tonight.
He was there.
Damn right he did.
He was there. Paul Pierce. Like, can you imagine like sending off Paul like that or greeting him like that when he comes back? Granted, he didn't get them a championship, but still. Like,
I'm going to start the movement. Resign. Let Kyrie go. Resign IT, baby.
Oh, my God.
Let's do it. Bring back the crew. Bring back Crowder, too.
Why don't you ask Chris his thoughts on that?
Yeah, because I didn't feel like sitting here for 48 hours wait on that answer.
All right, so the Rosenless Raptors after that, who we got? Who the Celtics got?
Yeah, Then the Blazers come to Boston, which will be. I sort of like when the Blazers come to Boston. It's sort of like a treat. You know what I mean? You're gonna see.
It always goes down to the wire. Those games.
Always goes down to the wire. We're gonna see one of the most underrated players in the league.
Evan Turner?
No, Nurkic.
Nurkic, you're all gonna see.
Oh, that's right.
Yo, Nurkic. Watch. We've been shitting on Joel.
Nurkic's gonna hit a game winner.
By the way, go back if you haven't listened to it. Go back and listen to our top 25 players.
Because of
somehow
that,
Joel put Nurkic in the top 25 on his list.
Because of that, you guys have been paying attention extra to what Nurkic has been doing lately, huh?
Well, he did make the news recently because he called out Ben Simmons. They both got into it.
Everyone calls out Ben Simmons. That's not even.
All I know is
that didn't even make my occasion mystic.
No. The reason why it made the news, or at least the reason we're bringing it up, is because he brought up a very valid point. Statistically, he is shooting better than Ben Simmons.
Everyone's shooting better than Ben Simmons.
Joel, I'm trying to help you out, man. I'm trying to help you out. Like his scoring.
You're being an asshole.
His percentage.
It's a backhanded compliment.
You're being an asshole. It's a Charles Barkley fucking compliment.
No. It's the reason why he didn't crack my top 20 because he can't shoot. I'm with you, man. Come on.
All I know is we've been shitting on Joel's Nurkic pick. Nurkic is going to ball out against the Celtics. Like 2020 game. You watch.
You better have a better game than McCollum.
Well, yeah. Right? Well, he could.
I didn't see McCollum on any of you guys' lists.
He can.
All right, then.
Neither was Nurkic. Neither was Nurkic. But if I'm creating a top 50 list, you may see McCollum.
They both will be in there.
You still ain't going to see Nurkic.
Top 50?
Yo, top 50, bro? Top 50?
Oh, come on. He's top 50.
Top 50?
Nurkic is top 50.
That's all right.
Top 50?
That's a lot of players.
I would have a hard time picking him over Aaron Baines, bro.
For fucking...
They're basically the same fucking player.
They're not.
Guy,
he's way better than Baines.
Averaging 16 points and 12 rebounds.
Yo, throw me some Bismack Biyombo.
All right. Because he's still in the league?
I mean,
where's he at?
You'd be hard pressed to find a bunch of 16 and 12 guys.
Well, like Jared Sullinger when he was on the Celtics, he was averaging 16 and 12.
No,
it was not grabbing 12 fucking rebounds.
Oh, that was 12 tasty burgers. Sorry. All right.
It's all good. For someone
Somewhere
that
just screaming out loud.
I've
never been a tasty burger. Why do they always say this?
I really hope he listens.
For the last 5 years.
God damn it!
Stupid tasty burger joke.
You guys actually think he listens? That's hilarious.
No, there's no
maybe,
way he
maybe
listens.
his pops does because his pops follows us on Twitter.
I don't know. Somehow, if somebody just gets
Good
to him
old
every time,
Sat Sullinger.
just gets into his ear every time. He's
Joel
like,
loves saying Satch.
Yo. For someone who had to put his list together on the fly, I think it was a pretty good list.
well, I'm thinking you should do a lot more research next year.
Half of my list was similar to yours. The other half was similar to Sway. So I don't want to hear it.
But Nurkic,
If that's my only.
Your
if
list-
if that's the only knock. I'm fine with
your
it.
list would have been great if you
If
just
I-
didn't put Nurkic on it.
That's fine. That's what I'm saying. If that's my only knock, I did pretty well considering I did it on the fly.
Considering you.
Yep. Go take a nap.
All right. Yo, I'd love to take a nap right now. Not gonna lie. All right.
So old.
Yo, I'm not old, man. I'm just tired as fuck. Is that okay?
Which is what old people say.
Yeah.
They're tired. Early bird special.
Damn right. Yo, nothing better than a fucking early dinner, bro. Just just hanging around on a Saturday.
Sean is so old that he eats dinner at like fucking 4 o'clock.
Eat dinner at
Still
4.
Still light out.
Dinner at 4.
He
Bed by 8, bro.
Sean's so old he now calls it supper.
Yo,
He doesn't call it dinner
I've always
anymore.
called it fucking supper. All right.
You call
called-
dinner supper?
That's a cultural thing. Cultural thing. Go ahead.
No,
Keep going.
that's an old man, like not old man, but that's like
My entire life,
baby boomer.
I
Fucking
called
term.
it supper.
Yeah, because your parents did.
Paula calls me out all the time. She's
Yeah.
like,
I would
"It's
call
not
you out
fucking
too.
supper." I'm like, "Yeah, it is supper." She's like, "We don't eat supper. We eat dinner."
Were you born in fucking 1957? Bro?
Ah, what's for supper? See? What do you got there? Some cabbage?
I don't think any gangster from the 50s called it supper. Where's my grub?
Where's my grub, Brad?
You got to be born at least before 1980 if you call it supper. Man. It's just a standard rule.
Hey, you know who else called it supper? Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus.
All right.
Jesus invented the word.
If you're gonna,
Touche.
yeah,
Touche.
if you're gonna make fun of me, you're making fun of Jesus.
Ah, bad.
Touche.
Ah, bad. I can't throw shade on JC. My fault.
Nah, damn right, motherfucker. All right. All right. Anyways, on Friday, the Celtics take on the Wizards.
I hear it was a carpenter, too.
Oh, JC? You know who else was a Jew? No, that's what he says, right?
No.
No, he goes, Greg's Jewish.
Oh, Greg's Jewish.
So is JC.
JC.
Like he knows him personally. So is JC. All right, who's next?
Took me about 70 hours, only because I started with a full block of wood.
It was especially difficult, using one block of wood.
By the way, meet the parents, guys. Meet the parents.
Yeah.
Just go out there.
For the youngsters that
That's
don't
a
know.
reference.
Go out there and watch that.
That's
All
a
right.
reference.
Anyways, Wizards, Celtics, which should be a good game, but it won't be a good game. I miss when the Wizards were good. Like they're just floundering, fighting for that 8
They
spot.
were never good. They just like to just act like they were good against the Celtics.
No,
Nah, they used to be good.
they were good.
Yeah.
They were like,
that 2017 year when they made
Yeah.
the playoffs, that was good. They were a good team.
and last year. What was wrong with them last year?
They were okay last year.
Still.
No.
All right. Well, that's what's happening on Friday night. Nothing like a Friday night.
You think Dwight
8
Howard comes back?
8 o'clock game on Friday
Where
night.
the fuck is Dwight Howard?
He's in rehab, guys.
No, but there's no update or anything. Like I haven't even
actually-
heard him. Like,
You
just,
didn't hear?
Has he tweeted anything?
He's in rehab.
He's on the list with Kraft, bro.
Oh, Jesus.
Checked into the Orchid, fucking Asia Orchid, whatever the fuck it was
I
called.
don't think he goes to that one. I think he goes to a different one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of old men,
Speaking of old man, RKK, baby.
free RKK.
Yo, all I know is free RKK, and you know what? By the way, though, if you got to think about it, couldn't have come at a better time for crime in America, celebrity crime in America. He's going up against the likes of that guy from Empire, R. Kelly,
Jesse.
and all. I mean,
What a news week.
at the end of the day, all Robert Kraft did was get his blown by a little Asian girl.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Come on.
I think he's.
You got to be responsible. Got to say
Yo,
allegedly.
he got a massage, man.
He
That's
got
it.
a lip, yeah.
He just likes massages.
Yeah, it was the massage parlor. Like, what else goes on in there? Massage.
I'm just gonna say this. I think he's got dementia, bro.
No, he doesn't.
That's the first time I've heard that.
No, just I started because obviously I never knew he was getting his,
Massage on?
I didn't know he was going to the
Massages?
Far East to have whatever.
He didn't leave the country, bro.
No, he didn't leave the country. But no, seriously, all of a sudden, like, he's a 77-year-old guy. He just starts hanging out with rappers. Like, literally starts just wearing, like, sneakers with his suits, which don't match.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but no one's ever going to be like,
yeah, but,
hey, Rob,
but before,
I think you're losing a step. Because everything he's done in his life to this point has been genius.
No. Tell me that before the details of the actual investigation came out, when you just saw the headline, you know, that he was involved in this thing, I was like, shit. He fucking, I could picture him, McMill, some other rappers, up and coming,
Sex trafficking?
No, not sex trafficking. Because it wasn't that.
That was the big thing when it first came out.
But like before the details of it,
right.
It was just like I saw. The first thing I saw was it just said prostitution. So I was just like, oh, okay, it's one of those things.
All right, who's next, Sean?
Why'd you cut off our RKK conversation like that?
All right, who's next?
Rockets on Sunday. So you're
is that matinee?
Yeah, 3:30. Looks like it's an ABC game, Joel.
Thank you.
What you can do next time is check the TV guide.
Yeah. You still have one? You still get those?
Always.
Old men get those still delivered.
Yep, I get the TV guide and a National Geographic.
He reads it every Sunday morning.
Can't.
TV guide.
He highlights it.
You know what I miss?
Weeks in advance.
I miss when I just used to scroll on the Channel 3. You just had to wait. If you miss it,
wait.
Got to be a little more patient.
There was no guide back then.
Got to be a little more patient.
Gotta wait.
And a little more attentive.
Channel 84 was the home shopping network, and it's just a big block.
Yeah. And you know what? I think the youth could get a lot of that at rolling scroll instead of on demand. See what's on TV. No.
All right. So how's Celtics going to finish? How do they do these next 4 games?
So they're going to lose to Toronto, and that's going to be bad because when they lose to Toronto, they're not going to handle it well, which they've proven they can't handle losses well.
What is Brad Stevens going to do differently?
What is Brad Stevens going to do differently? Dude, he can't do anything differently.
He's going to switch up his suit.
No. Brad, you know what?
He has to change these rotations. I'm telling you.
I
can't see Terry Rozier go out there and play 20 minutes.
Bro, I've been trying to say this all year.
Wanamaker coming out?
All year.
Why not?
No, Brad can't do anything differently. The only thing he can do is pick his 7 guys and stick with them. And that's not going to happen. There's too much talent on this team. It's not a cohesive unit. Kyrie doesn't get along with Brad. Never going to get along with Brad. It's just it's a mess. Gordon Hayward can't be himself with Kyrie around. The team's talented enough to be the 4 spot by playing mediocre basketball all year. I mean, unless they turn it on in the playoffs, I think this is the fact that our guest couldn't call it an utter failure of a year. It's been an utter failure of a year, hands down. There's no way to argue that. And when they lose to Toronto, shit's gonna hit the fan. Shit's gonna hit the fan, and they'll probably come out
when it is to Toronto, this game or
this game?
Okay,
no, because you think Kyrie's gonna handle a loss to Toronto well?
No. I mean, first of all, I don't think they're gonna lose to Toronto. That's just me. But if they were to lose to Toronto, how bad could it get at this point? Seriously. With 20-some games left, they've lost to the Bulls, they've lost to the Suns, and then they've beaten the Bucks, and then they've beaten the Sixers, and then they lose again to New York, and it's just been up and down.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
at this point, how is if they do lose, how would it be? What's going to hit the fan? It's the same shit. Nothing changes.
Okay, and that's not good. The whole thing, you need to come out strong against Toronto because.
I mean,
I think this is when things change.
You need to make things change,
especially if they don't. Brad Stevens puts himself on the hot seat again. Not only does he say it's on me, I need to figure something out. How many times has he said that? Well, here we go, Brad.
Okay,
what are you going to figure out? What are the changes are you going to implement that you've been talking about for the last 2-3 weeks?
Okay,
I need to figure out a way to make this team better. I need to figure out we haven't seen any drastic changes to his rotation.
But
2 weeks ago. He was starting to shorten his rotation because we got the playoffs coming up, and this is the time of year where he starts doing that. So that if he starts switching shit up now, then what?
I'm saying you're doing it per matchup, which has always been Brad Stevens' MO. You're going against Toronto. You're going up against bigs like Siakam, Marc Gasol. We have to see more defensive-minded lineups. Shemi Ojale played one heck of a game against the Milwaukee Bucks, but in the second half, you barely saw him. Instead, you saw Gershon Yabusele getting time.
Okay, so then
Like,
what about
what's the mindset into a decision like that? So now you're going up against a bigger team, a team that's way more talented, in my opinion, compared to the Milwaukee Bucks. You got to come correct. You got to switch it up. Come with something.
Okay, so then what about that final roster spot? Why not bring in another big? Because you don't know how long Aaron Baines is going to be out.
I mean, whether you do that or not, that's not going to do anything against the Raptors. And I agree with that. You have to bring. I think you should bring in another person. But I'm talking about this matchup tonight against the Raptors. I want to see more Shemi. I want to see Robert Williams get some time. I want to see.
Well, he's been injured too. He got groin issues.
Robert Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on these trips though. He's available.
You know who doesn't
he's in
have
uniform.
groin issues?
Okay.
Oh,
jeez. But no,
that was the big shocker. In
why are we
opinion.
seeing Yabusele out there? I want to
That
see
was
more
a big
Shemi. And
But-
shit,
okay.
if Rozier continues to play the way he's been playing, you bench him, you put a ball handler in like Brad Wanamaker, and a guy who could also defend, maybe not at a high level, but can defend better than what we've seen out of Rozier lately.
Bro,
All right. So then, what about those? Okay, you brought up a couple of bench guys. What about Marcus Morris? He hasn't been playing well these last few weeks. How about?
What's wrong with Mook, man? Leave him in there.
Oh no, but how about he goes to the bench and you bring in Jaylen Brown now? Jaylen Brown has been playing great.
My only change I would do if you're going to make a change to starting lineup would be, believe it or not, put Smart on the bench and then put Jalen in.
Okay, all right. I'll accept
I like Morris in there.
Smart
though.
offensively,
I like Morris
hasn't
in there.
been that great either.
Yeah, I still like him in the games though.
Do you
That's the
really?
only change I would make. If I had to make a
Do you
change.
see how silly it is though that we're saying a team that has Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, Al Horford, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Morris, that Brad Wanamaker is going to make a difference?
He said it.
Or Robert. That what I'm getting at is that.
But Sean, who's
doesn't-
coming up big for
I
the second
hear
unit?
you.
Besides Jaylen Brown, who's been consistent for them since the All-Star break?
That's why I don't know what Brad Stevens can do. Everyone says change the rotations, change the rotations.
See, it's weird.
I don't know what he can do.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
But they just need to play better.
Yeah, I'm with Sean, right? Because there might be one or two tweaks that you could do, but I don't think Wanamaker is the answer. I don't think Robert Williams is the answer. I think if you
Shemi Ojala.
you kind of go back.
I'm
with you with Shimmy. A little bit of Shimmy, but
yeah.
you know, if you have Smart come off the bench and then you have Brown start, that might be something, right? Because you have a team like Toronto who they're tall, right? We all know this. The three teams ahead of the Celtics, they're matchup wise, they're taller, right? So before the All-Star break, when Kyrie was out, those last two games with the knee sprain or whatever, Jason Tatum, he had a good stretch. Ironically, since AD announced he wanted to be traded up until the All-Star break, great stretch of basketball. But then Kyrie comes back, and then it's like, what the fuck happened to Jason Tatum?
By the way, Tatum needs to play better.
Okay,
that's a lot of the blame. Because
all right, hold on. But before you say that, Gordon Hayward also was going upward.
Yeah,
especially those games where Kyrie wasn't playing. Kyrie comes back, and then what happened to Hayward? Like I know he was out one game, but then he played like shit against Chicago.
What are you saying, Joel?
Oh, no, I'm not. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying the Celtics are better without Kyrie. I'm not saying that.
Are you not?
No.
It sounded like you were.
No. All I'm saying is,
didn't it sound like he was saying that?
Listen. All I'm saying is like, why can
Right.
everyone just when Kyrie plays, everyone just know their role and just play the game?
Why can't they?
No, I'm not saying it's Kyrie though. It's something. It's a combination of like. It goes back to Brad. I think
you're going a roundabout way of saying.
No, I'm not. I'm not Chris.
That's a roundabout.
I'm just trying
this
to
is a roundabout way of saying the Celtics are better off than Kyrie.
They're not though. It's not.
All I know is this.
It's not.
Yeah,
I love Chris.
I love Chris too. I'm just messing with him. That was just a long-winded answers.
Yeah.
Didn't really say anything. But
I mean, maybe we're all just a little off today. It's fucking, the day that we picked to record, but whatever.
And all I will say is this: like, if the Celtics can't figure this out, they have a multitude of talent on the team. There's a lot of talent. This team should not be in the position it is.
Yeah, I agree.
And I personally don't see it going on Brad Stevens as much as I put the blame on Kyrie Irving. Because here's the thing: Brad Stevens is here. Brad Stevens is going to be here. Brad Stevens has shown.
That's fine, but
Brad. Okay, I'm sorry. Brad Stevens has had more success that you can pretty much, this is going to be a little controversial, but I think Brad Stevens has had more success in the NBA that he's accounted for than Kyrie Irving has, who came up big in the playoffs with LeBron, but That was LeBron's team.
All right, so then what was
when the Celtics were consistently getting better, what was the one consistent through all those years? When the roster overhaul, no. It was Brad Stevens. This was Brad Stevens' teams. Okay, and so all I'm saying is, when did the Celtics decide and say, is Kyrie just not the right fit for this team?
No, but I disagree with you, because then what happened between the beginning of last season up until he went out?
Yep.
Irving. They were pretty much number one seed the entire season up until the week of the All-Star game. And that's not the halfway point anymore.
Sure.
We're talking about this almost 20-something odd
games. I mean, left. That was a different Kyrie last year. Kyrie wasn't like this last year.
The only difference last year was that
Kyrie wanted to play?
No.
And shut up and just not complain about everything?
No. Well, he didn't speak. He just played, yeah.
Well, he didn't cause locker room turmoil.
Yeah, but he's still having the best year of his career, though. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Right. So is James Harden.
Yeah, but James Harden, that's different. They're not the deepest team in the league.
I'm just saying
no matter how many fucking buyout free agents they get.
There's some. I truly think that some superstar players in the NBA, and we've seen this in the NFL, we've seen this in every sport. There are some superstars who just don't get it. And I'm concerned. I wasn't concerned last year. I wasn't really concerned until everything, every little thing's a big deal this year. And he just doesn't understand how to deal with any type of adversity. Can Kyrie understand it? That it factor that you all need. As much as you want to complain about LeBron James, at the end of the day, his talent could surpass any type of turmoil that was there, right? He knew that I'm just going to keep playing and I can just be an idiot and it doesn't matter. I'm going to get to the NBA Finals anyways. You want to talk about the Kevin Durant and all the stuff all the stuff he says? At the end of the day, it all does come back to I have everybody's. I may hate the media, I may hate the coaches, I may hate the fans, but I know I got my teammates back. And I don't feel like Kyrie's really shown any signs that he understands that and knows how to win in the NBA, being the big fish.
Well, I don't know if it's all on him. I just think there's a disconnect between Brad's coaching and everybody else. That's just me. I mean, no, I'm just saying, considering the talent on this team, again, like you said, you have 6 players averaging double figures, and then you have Marcus Smart and Rozier averaging a little bit over 9 points. So you could potentially have 8 guys averaging double figures in points, and you're the 5th seed,
which is ridiculous.
And I've been the silver lining guy, and it's just at this point, it's whatever now.
At this point, it is whatever. I mean, you're right.
Swipe brought up a couple weeks ago. Maybe they're bored. Maybe they are. I didn't want to believe that, but maybe they are after what Kyrie said.
That's why a team like the Celtics can drop. They can drop a loss against the Chicago Bulls, but they always come with it when it's a top team. I mean, look at the game against the Bucks. I mean, they played terrible. They still almost came out with a win. Wouldn't shock me if they beat the Raptors tonight. I still think moving forward that those 4 games that we just went through when we looked ahead, 2-2 at best.
And then there's
no way they'll win 3 of the next 4. But next week, when we talk about the games that they did win, it wouldn't shock me if those 2 wins came against the Rockets and against the Raptors. The 2 of the best teams that they're about to face.
Yeah. And even if they were, somehow to fucking sweep the week, are we still confident that they can,
no, because
keep it going?
I would be.
Yeah, they'll sweep
because we've seen that. It's an 8-game winning streak, and then they drop, and then they win, and then they drop against one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm just going to spell it all like this because that doesn't matter about our normal look ahead. But Raptors, Blazers, Wizards, Rockets, Warriors. That's the next 5 games. If this isn't a make or break part of the schedule, then
I mean, we've been talking about make or breaks
since December.
Every
Christmas,
every little mini stretch, we're like, yo,
what?
This could be the turning point.
All right, so let's.
This is the corner.
So
at this point, they need to catch at least the 3rd seed, or then it's just gonna be they're gonna have to fucking battle their way away from the TD Garden. Every playoff game.
Whatever they do, they better not catch the Nets in the first round, man. That's a wrap.
Get out of here.
It's a wrap.
What are you talking about? That's what they want.
Nets are catching.
They can grab the 3rd seed, but it really comes down to not only this stretch coming up, also comes down to those 2 games they have against the Pacers. If they beat the Pacers, the next 2 games they have against the Pacers, they're in decent shape to grab the 3rd seed.
If they had a better away record, I wouldn't give a shit. fuck it. They want to get the 4th seed? Fuck it. Get the 4th seed. Whatever. But their away record is awful. It's awful.
All right, let's wrap this up the way we wrap up every single episode here at the Causeway Street Podcast.
In case you missed it, Draymond Green, believe it or not, he's close to signing with Rich Paul of Clutch Sports. The Warriors forward is in the middle of a 5-year, $82 million deal, and he'll be a free agent in the year 2020. Of course, if you don't know, because that's all people have been talking about in the news, Clutch Sports is also home to LeBron James, Anthony Davis, John Wall, and yes, even the Morris twins, Marcus and Markieff, who just got picked up by
the Thunder.
The Thunder. That's a good pickup by them.
The Thunder.
Look weird.
And the Thunder.
Lightning in the... Anyways.
Fuck the Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys are terrible
fucking suck.
Singing that terrible song.
Look like Marcus, even though I know they're twins, but it's just weird because I haven't seen Markieff in a minute.
What if it is?
Did you just say Markieff looked like Marcus?
It looked like Markieff and Marcus in the fucking jersey, the
hold
Thunder
on.
jersey.
Hold on.
Man, they're identical.
Drop the beat. Drop the beat. Who has been playing bad of late?
Marcus.
And who has been playing much better of late?
Oh, Markieff just came back.
Telling you, conspiracy theory, baby. Marcus is like, you know what? Keith, hop on with these guys. I'm done with them. It ain't fun here no more. All right? You just got caught. I got free game. I'm going to go play with my boy Russ.
This will be fun.
This will be fun. Ain't no one going to know. Just remember, his name's Shemi, not Semi. All right?
You know they used to do that for like for tests and shit in high school?
They still do it, and they did it against the Celtics. They did it against the Celtics and again when they played the Wizards in 2016 or 2017?
17.
They did it against. They do it all the time.
It's like a really bad ankle sprain. They're like, oh, he could be out for the series. Play the next game.
Next game. No, he didn't play the next game, but his brother did.
That's what I'm saying. But he was back like nothing had ever happened. Ironically, anyways.
Oh, by the way, Jordan Peele rebooting The Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Oh shit!
Yeah, TV show,
what's
bro.
up.
Yeah, looks dope.
Yo, he really into the horror thing, huh?
It's one of his things.
Cashing them chick. Yeah, all his Key and Peele skits are like that though. It was like the weird shit.
But you never thought that. But you never
the creepy dude.
You never thought that though.
No, you never thought straight horror. But like every time it would just like go like a little off. You're like, whoa, what the fuck is that?
It's like when Get Out came out, like the first like preview for it, I was like, this is gonna be like a big skit, right? This is what I thought it was. Anyways. Karl Anthony Towns was under the NBA's concussion protocol for 2 games after being in a car accident last week. Timberwolves forward says that he's lucky to be alive.
Is he okay?
Yeah, I'm reading. I'm telling you what he's saying.
Oh,
he says he's lucky to be alive after being a passenger.
Aren't we all?
After being in the passenger seat of a car that came to a complete stop to avoid another car accident in front of them, only to be hit by a semi-truck going about 45 miles per hour.
This leads me to one of my other pet peeves. Is the right of way on the road, guys? Am I right? Can't we just all follow the right of way?
No one follows that.
Yo, easy there, Grandpa. What's going on with you today, dude?
Yo, no one follows that thing. You're right.
No, it's the worst. It's the worst. I'm driving. I know. I don't. I don't have the right of way, and I'm like you're. I'm at a stoplight. I'm at a stop sign, and you're driving, and you decide to say, come on, you come before I turn. Like, no, you have the right of way. You go. I'll wait.
Like, keep it
Once
moving.
you go,
Keep it moving.
then I'll go. That's my turn.
Yeah,
Don't fucking. You're not helping anybody. You're confusing things. Now I'm going to start to go, and you're going to go. Oh yeah, hey. And we're both going to do that. And that's the right reason why right of ways are created.
And then the entire intersection doesn't know who has the right of way.
And then somebody just goes, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going. And then there's your accident. It's just if everyone followed the right of way.
One big clusterfuck. Always.
If everyone just followed the right of way.
Always. Well, Towns is scheduled to return this week, in case you were wondering, right?
Good. Well, I'm happy he's okay.
Timberwolves lineup.
I was really concerned there for a little bit.
But speaking of the Timberwolves, have they officially been cursed? No. It's not another little B curse again. But in case you missed it, good old Ja Rule put the curse on the Timberwolves after being trolled by the team's Twitter account following a 90s night halftime performance during a Bucks-Timberwolves game in Milwaukee.
Yeah, that didn't turn out too well.
Where it appears that no one in the arena was feeling Ja that night. And I actually got a little clip.
Oh, nice.
Got a little clip. It's been a while since I put a little clip, but I got one.
Oh, there you go. Just the Greek freaks just shooting warm
up. Yeah, that's what I was doing my thing.
Just he's out there just getting his jumpers in.
Give two fucks about Ja Rule.
He's just like doing his jumper. He's like, in Monday. He's like, got it. Yo, this song was huge in Greece when I was 14.
They said this is 90s night, so they brought out a 2000 artist. But my album came out in 99, so I guess that counts. Sanchez, we ready?
Crickets.
Are we ready?
Yeah! No.
More crickets.
I guess not.
Why did he say I guess not? Like, just start singing, man. Just pretend, like you make it worse when you say that.
Yo, this is why I don't.
I think it was a combination of like the dude or DJ, whoever, didn't drop the track, so I guess expecting the crowd to go nuts.
No, the DJ didn't play like the crowd noise.
Oh,
that he used to play.
Yeah, bro, I don't get why any rapper would ever agree to do a halftime show.
Hey, man, Mace did a really good job in New York.
No, you're competing with the acts of like the lady
Red Panda.
who throws plates up in the air, and little 10-year-old kids running around shooting hoops in their pickup game.
So this is what the Timberwolves.
Like, ain't no one gonna watch that.
This is what the Timberwolves tweeted out. Right, we too were hustled, scammed, bamboozled, hoodwinked, and the reason why that's funny because he said the same thing about the Fire Festival that was canceled or was never came to fruition. It was a music festival that he was a part of. And the guy who put it together is in jail right now, but Ja Rule isn't. And he tweeted out.
Oh, didn't he? They like sell fake tickets or something like that.
Yeah, it was
a big scam. Yeah.
Everyone like put it was mad money that got into it, and then the guy who put it together,
the guy just pocketed the dough.
Yeah, it was supposed to be him and Ja Rule.
Yeah,
that put this together. So then he tweeted that out
and then basically it turned into a refugee camp on a deserted island, pretty much.
He said he had all these artists on. He never even made a single phone call.
Drake and a bunch of others or whatever. So then Ja Rule saw the tweet and was like, you just jinxed yourself talking to the God this way.
Oh, jeez.
You're cursed now. You won't win a championship for the next 30 years, and Cat is leaving. Apologize, and I'll lift the curse. Kiss of death. In quotes.
Who from the team's going to be like, you know what, guys? We got to apologize to Ja Rule, man. Get this curse lifted immediately.
I mean, what if Ja Rule dies tomorrow and we don't get a chance to apologize? We're going to go 30 years without a championship? We get the Greek Freak. Come on. Let's just play this one safe, fellas, okay? We don't know the powers these rappers can have nowadays.
30 years is a long time, man. I mean, better apologize to Ja. Just no joke.
See what happened to Cassie for him to say this.
Imagine if Ja Rule was just like...
We're 50 Cent right now.
I'm going to... No, nah.
Put something together.
Something like so over the top.
Who, Ja?
All of your fans will die. Your new stadium will explode.
Semi trucks everywhere, all over Minnesota.
Just immediately gets investigated by the FBI.
Yeah, it's like, bro, whoa.
But yeah, that's
not a funny joke.
That's a terrorist threat there.
And
Jeffrey,
all I gotta do is apologize. It's not even close to Ja Rule.
It's pretty close.
It's murder.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
holla.
But that
fucking Ja Rule.
That Fire Festival documentary is pretty funny. You guys check that out. It's on Netflix.
I used to always be in the camp of for rappers, Ja Rule had some pretty fucking good songs. Like, why does everyone hate on Ja Rule?
You love yourself some Ja Rule. I forgot.
I mean, he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad. He's like
He was alright.
Poor man's DMX.
His first album was good.
First album was good.
That was a good album.
The first album was good. I mean, I'm not gonna say when he was getting on tracks with Ashanti, I was like, yo, oh yeah.
No, I'm saying that was like pre-Ashanti. Like his first album.
His first album was good.
DMX, Jay-Z was on there.
Yeah.
I think Busta.
And
so he had the potential to be like, oh, he's the next guy.
You know what? You know why I like Ja Rule? I love his verse on Jay-Z's song.
No, can I get
How you go get it? No.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. We got you. We know.
Can I get it?
We know the verse.
It ain't even a question.
I'm about those flows. I'm good to these bad hoes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
It's easy.
The next guy.
I'm telling you, man. I love that verse.
It's easy.
The money for sure. Before they go. Running them out. Run it out. Telling you, man. That was a sick verse.
Sean was like, it's the next Pac.
Yo.
Yo, you heard this new dude, Ja?
12-year-old Sean running around rocking high, baby.
Yeah! What would I be without you? You see that new video on TRL? It's fucking awesome.
And that's all I got, baby, for this edition of, in case you missed it, the Ja Rule edition. Where's Ja?
Yo, let's get Ja on the podcast, bro.
Yo, he'd probably do it. Yo.
All we gotta do is
let's reach out to him.
No, all we gotta do is threaten that we're gonna sue him because we had tickets for that fire festival.
Be like,
and he'd be like, okay, guys, I'll do it for free.
Let's say we won't mention a fire festival once.
I'll do it for free.
Let's
And
get Ja on the podcast.
And he's got to perform at your wedding.
Paul would love that. Paul loves Ja Rule.
Yeah, as long as he brings Ashanti, man, I'm in, dude.
Fucking Ja Rule and Ashanti and DR. Let's do it. Girl, your lips. Yours.
Okay, we're done, man. Fuck this.
It's just crickets. He's performing, it's just crickets, and Paul's the only one dancing. Like, yeah.
Are you kidding me? If Ja Rule came to the wedding, we'd go fucking ape shit, bro. Literally, everyone would be like, whoa, Ja Rule. Yeah, I don't think there's been a single successful halftime show by a rapper.
Yeah, I was kidding. That main performance was terrible.
It was whack, right?
But
remember when 21 Savage came out in Atlanta? That was awful too. Remember when he couldn't find the beat?
That's right.
That was halftime.
That's right.
Nothing good happens at halftime because guess what? You literally are running out there and they like there's no sound check. There's no sound check, and you're like, play 2 songs, but they have to.
Yeah.
Hurry
up because Giannis has to come out here and shoot around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Giannis didn't give 2 fucks. He's like, I'm shooting. Fuck it.
Paul just bounces his.
You know, he asked like one person who was just like, I think you should probably wait, and he's just like, no, I'm gonna go out there. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Like,
go ahead.
Who's the artist?
Just keep it down. Don't say anything.
Who's the artist?
Just don't say much. Like even the Celtics when their early 2000 years of
They had Blue Man Group out there, bro.
No, but they were trying to get people to come to the stadium, whatever. They would have that after the game. They'd have somebody perform after the game. They're like, oh, stick around after this 20-point loss, and you got fucking I don't know. What was a popular band in the early 2000s?
Plain White Tees.
Plain White Tees. There you go.
I actually think that happened.
Yeah, it did.
I actually think
I think
remember the Plain
I think
White
Neo
Tees.
before Neo got
Neo
big, too.
was
Yeah,
like, that was the big one, yeah.
So there you go. I bet you
Stay tuned for Neo.
there's a bunch of Celtics fans that are like, yo, I remember Rihanna before she was even huge. I saw her at the fucking after the Celtics lost to the Magic.
After the game, Kelly Rowland.
After the Celtics lose by 25, the Celtics lose by 25, and Joe Green drops 30.
You know him.
Special performance for you after the game.
You know him from Smart Guy. What the fuck? That little kid had like a little rap career out of nowhere from Smart Guy. I forget his fucking name.
TJ son.
TJ, yeah.
Ashanti. But yeah.
And I love how they're always like platinum artist, Warner Brothers platinum recording artist.
Oh, he's on Warner Brothers? Oh, my
he's on
God.
WE with the frogs. Shit, fucking made it.
Give it up for Mandy Moore.
Give it up for Nelly Furtado.
Come on, Boston. Let's go.
You're beautiful. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Gotta love it.
Can you imagine that was happening now?
Timberland.
You guys would just be trash, just waiting for after the. Yo, let's go watch this concert. Fucking shit on the performance.
No, but you won't even know until you were there. Like, yo, stick around after the Celtics get shitted on by 30 points. You got
Boys to Men. We'll hit the center court.
reunion tour. Like I paid $10 for my seat, and I got to see Boys to Men.
Yeah,
Give it up for Mario.
Mario. Lil Bow Wow. Telling you, man. Telling you.
And now, a little blast from the past. Little Romeo.
Performing with his dad.
Like,
Master P.
Who wants to see this right now?
It's P. Miller now. Oh, my bad.
Oh. Yo, how many times has P.D. Pablo performed at the fucking
Pablo.
Charlotte Hornets games? Oh. By the way, Hadn't heard that song.
I'm sick of that fucking song.
Hadn't heard that song in about 10 years until All-Star Weekend, when literally every time it was a commercial.
Every commercial break.
North Carolina.
That song did fucking bump back in the day, though.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Take your shirt off. Whip you around your hair like a helicopter.
Like a helicopter.
I was like, whoa, why?
I know exactly what he's talking about.
Like a helicopter. Oh, well, that's easy. I can do that.
This one's for you.
You?
Us.
Oh.
All right, we're out of here. Until next week. Later.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Dan Lothian, host of the Behind the Media podcast on the CLNS Media Network. Along with Jimmy Young, we dive into the biggest media headlines each week with honest, informed, and sometimes irreverent perspectives. It's not all serious. We deliver information and entertainment. As we like to say on Behind the Media, we find the interesting in media so you don't have to go searching for it. Listen to our podcast and get prepped for the next trip to the water cooler. Subscribe to Behind the Media wherever you get your podcast, or find us on www.clnsmedia.com.